Clark, I really appreciate you taking the time to speak with me on this historic night. Can you walk us through how exactly Stormy Daniels found out about the verdict and her reaction to it?
I think she found out from me. I called her as soon as I received the information. Actually, received it directly from CNN because I was coming over to spend some time with CNN this evening. So they shot me a note, said the verdict came in, and I watched as the verdict was read. And I called Storm and told her about it. So I think that's how she received the information.
Was she surprised by this verdict?
I don't think she was surprised. She got emotional. I mean, she was really impacted. I mean, she's very much an empathetic person. She felt bad for Mr. Trump, in spite of all the things that has happened and the things that he said about her. But she also put great faith in the jury system and the process. And I think she would have been fine if this jury returned a verdict of not guilty or guilty. I mean, she really believed in the process. I'm very proud of her strength and her character in coming here. And she spent 2 days on the stand. And I think the jury really saw her for who she was and what she knew about the relevant facts.
You speak about her character. I understand that she was nervous to testify in court. She actually wore a bulletproof vest to the venue.
Well, I don't think it was nervousness as much. It was really fear. And I mean, some of the social media that she receives it's so vicious and threatening. And so I think from the standpoint of just the fear of what somebody might do, that more than anything really kind of incapacitated her, actually. And but when she got up here and she got in the courtroom and the questions started, I don't think she was as anxious or nervous about that process as she was about the unknown of somebody doing something crazy.
And given this verdict and that Trump is a presumptive Republican nominee for president, has her concerns for her safety increased?
I don't know if that's settled in yet, but that would be a logical conclusion. I think the truth of the matter, as we spoke, her and I, this evening, you got to be really proud of our system. I mean, this is no one's above the law, and for him to face a jury and the facts and the law being applied, it really says a lot about our not only jurisprudential system, but our system of government, that we could reach a point where 12 jurors could sit in judgment. And it's unfortunate that he's been convicted, and I mean that sincerely. But on the other hand, it's the best justice system in the world, without a doubt.
And in terms of Donald Trump's legal strategy in this case, do you think it backfired on him?
I never really understood the legal strategy. The cross-examination of Stormy was essentially inept, and they never really launched a defense on the facts, like the entries weren't made, or I didn't authorize the payments, or I didn't tell Michael Cohen to do what he did. I mean, that was never really launched at all. It was just the system is corrupt, the judge is corrupt, the jurors are corrupt. And I've really never, in my career as a lawyer, I've never witnessed anything like that. There's been some trials, I think, of the Charlie Manson trial, where he's accusing the whole system of being corrupt. I mean, that's an extreme example, but I've never seen this occur in any other case in my career. And from what I've witnessed, they just really didn't launch a defense. It was just accusation.
And Trump won't be sentenced until July. Until then, there really is this overarching question about if he'll face prison time. What do you think is an appropriate sentence in this case?
You know, I wouldn't even begin to think that I would have the insight that this judge has, Judge Merchan. I watched him in the courtroom and saw his rulings. I've been involved in this case for about a year. On some of the motions to quash subpoenas and things like that. I would defer to this judge. He's very senior. He's very studious. I thought he ran a courtroom in a way that was incredibly fair to both sides. So I'd defer to him on that. It's hard for me to say.
Now, reaction to this has really been split down party lines, and you did touch on this a little bit, but when it comes to the integrity of the court and this trial, what's your thoughts on how this all played out?
Well, from my perspective, I've been in a lot of courtrooms, and I've seen how judges conduct themselves. I was very impressed with this judge. One of the commentators on CNN over the last week or so is the senior criminal judge in the division. He's now retired just about a year or two ago, and I had a chance to speak with him about what he observed as well. And both of us concluded that the judge was very even-handed, very straightforward. I think it was a fair trial. I really do.
Is there something that stands out in your mind when it comes to the most damning evidence against former President Trump in this trial?
I lost that last question. Would you ask me that again?
Yeah, when it comes to evidence against former President Donald Trump in this trial, was there something that stands out as to, in your mind, the most damning?
Well, I mean, the upshot was this. He's the one that was to gain by virtue of trying to buy these women silence. And he chose to disguise the payoffs as something other than what they really were, so that he could conceal it from the voting public. I mean, that's the essence of the case. These are statutory crimes in New York, and the facts met the elements of those crimes, and the jury made their determination unanimously.
Is there a message that you have for those 12 men and women on that jury?
I've never tried a case in my life, even if it didn't go in the way I wanted it to go, that I have tremendous respect for the selflessness and the dedication jurors show. I've always felt that way, and I could tell when I was in this courtroom for a few days, the dedication this jury had. They were very attentive. They're note takers. During the deliberations, they asked for certain parts of the testimony to be read back to them. Very impressive. They should have our gratitude and respect.
Clark Brewster, we appreciate you taking the time to talk with us. Thank you.
My pleasure, Brenna. Thank you.